Hello, everyone. Welcome to Vroman's Bookstore. This is our crowdcast. Tonight, we're going to be with the author Robert Smith and his grandsons, Owen Smith and Marshall Smith, discussing journaling memories. If you'd like to buy the book, please click on the green button right below the viewer screen that says Buy Journaling Memories here. If you'd like to ask a question, please ask the question in the Ask a Question box at the bottom of the screen. Just click on that and type it in. You may also type it in to the side chat. Without further ado, I'm going to introduce Robert. Thank you.
Hi everyone. We had a little trouble, so we're using the same computer because I couldn't get my computer to work because of my age, more than likely. Hey, I have a background in finance and banking, and have actually authored six books, one of which I made money on, and the others I didn't, which is typical of many authors. But this is one that we're really excited about, and it had its beginning in wait a minute, the cleaning lady just walked in. This had its beginning by a pool over in Arizona with two boys away, and we went away for the weekend. And the creation and the idea is pretty unique, and it's very special to a lot of, I think, families and particularly seniors. I'm a senior, as you might guess. I'm 86 years old, and I try and find things to do other than play golf. And one of the things is to build a profile of history for the two grandchildren and their kids in the future years. And so I'm excited about it. I hope you get excited about it. It's nothing too complex. It's not a love novel. It's not a history novel. It's a self-help workbook that can be very beneficial to seniors and families. Owen, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Owen Smith, proud grandson of Bob. I'm a freshman at Vanderbilt University, and me, along with my twin brother, we helped a lot with the editing, and also I played a big part in the design and the layout of the book. And we're really excited about it, and we're excited to tell you more. But I'll let Marshall introduce himself first.
Yeah, so I'm Marshall, Owen's proud twin brother, and I get the pleasure of being the grandson of Bob right here. And I'm a freshman at Notre Dame University, and I am studying economics. And throughout this process, I worked with Owen and Bob on editing and on brainstorming questions and overall design aspects like layout. And I would say we all basically enjoyed working together on this. So I'm really excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys. Listen, this is, as I mentioned, it's a self-help work with the genre of self-help. There's a lot of other books like it, but it is unique because it captures the whole essence of life and allows seniors and others, if they want to participate in it, to go through and to think through their life and to find the goods and the bads of what they've accomplished and done, and to think about what can be lessons for their future families. It's it's really an item that I would say. Well, I've been through most of it, but it's taking a lot of my time. These two guys here said, well, you got to do it if you write it and have part of putting it together. So I've done that. But I think, Marshall, why don't you tell them where the idea came from?
Yeah, sure. So as Bob mentioned, we were in Arizona for the weekend, and we're trying to find ways to, I guess, share with others the quality time that we had gotten to spend with each other, and to help other people who might not have the, I guess, family relationships or friendships that we've grown to have over the past couple of years. And we thought that it would be excellent to give people a means of, in a way, bringing family together, whether it be somebody helping you go through these questions, or filling out the journaling memories as a way of presenting your own history to your family and bonding over that. And so we really were excited by that trip and all the other, I guess, times that we had before then. and the times that we continue to have today that are just so meaningful to all of us. And also, another note is that my great-grandfather, Bob's father, Jim, actually, we were inspired by him because he, back in his day, wrote about his life in a notebook, and it spanned a couple of pages, and we learned a lot of interesting things about him, such as that he had all of his teeth pulled at the same time, which was funny, and also that it took 28 days to travel across the country, whereas it's crazy to imagine that now, given that we have planes and trains and everything. And so it was excellent to learn about our family history that we previously didn't know about through that, and we thought we would probably find a way to make it even easier for other people to inspire them to do the same.
Yeah, and just one thing I might add to that, Marshall, he also said that people listen to you until you're 80 and then they don't pay any attention to you, which I'm finding out now. Owen, who do you think this workbook would be attractive to? I mean, what group of people?
The great thing I think which makes our book so special is it's anyone. So the first thing I would say is we designed the book in a way that you can pick it up at any point in your life. So the way each question and section of the book we've set out, I have a copy here. So every question has lines, but basically we set it out so you can break up each of your responses by your early years, your middle years, and your senior years. So that means that an elder could pick it up, someone Bob's age can go look back on their entire life, but then also someone say, 30, 40 could pick it up and then just slowly add to it as their life progresses. So I think from that end, anyone can benefit from it. And also not only the people who are writing the book and writing their guide for themselves, but their family members, their friends, there's something, I think at the end, you have the product, you get this awesome book, and it has 200 plus pages of your life story and history, but also the process itself is very important and is a way to really connect with, calling friends, asking about stories, asking children, asking parents, and really anyone can help anyone do this. So I think from both ends, we've set it up in a way that it can target any age group and not only benefit people in the present, but also the future. And just the experience of it as well really helps people enjoy and take value in the book we've created.
Thanks, Owen. Yeah, we took it and took life and broke it into 7 key areas, or the experiences of life: development, living. We talked about the interests that you have, the behavior, your activities, the struggles, and the lessons. And then within each area, we have 7 or 8 sections that are what we call the life areas. And from that, we developed over 350, I forgot the exact count now, over 350 questions. They're really designed to stimulate thought. I mean, you can spend a lot of time watching television or on Facebook or whatever, but particularly for seniors like myself, you want to spend time thinking about, what I've accomplished, and struggles I've had, what lessons I have for my family. And if you're not inspired to do that, or you're not motivated, or you don't have a means by which you think about the various aspects of life, it's very difficult to do. And it covers the full expansion of life, and there may be other areas that we didn't include in it that didn't get included that someone that takes part in the book may want to add to that too. It's your book if you buy it, and it's your father, your grandfather's book, and they can do with it as they want. If there's things they don't want to reveal and don't want to talk about, they can do that. If there's things that they think might be interesting to you later in life, they'll do that too. So, but just to give you an idea or a little further flavor of the book, Marshall, why don't you just talk about some of the questions and how the scope goes? Talk about what life is.
So I think that something I would also just say before is that I really think that when we were making the questions and going through the entire process, it was so rewarding just to be able to bounce things off of Bob and to hear his own opinions. And it seemed like the sense of fulfillment that he got from translating some of those questions to his own experiences and sharing information that we didn't know about him. So a couple of the questions and cues that I found particularly relevant were the section on college, given that it's our first year in college, and I would love to learn a little bit more about his experience in college, and I guess learn from him and know what to do, what to not do. So I guess one of the questions I was really interested in asking him, and I guess I'll ask him again right now, is what college classes did you find most meaningful? And also, are there any key memories that you had from college that you would say are particularly, I guess, exciting, or something that you're so glad that you took part in?
Well, first off, let me clarify my experience in college, which makes me think about it. Is I didn't do very well. It took me quite a while to get through college. I had some very, very bad classes, very bad classes from a grade point of view, until I kind of found my way and began to learn that the whole process of learning was valuable. Now, I'd have to say that I graduated from a local school here in Southern California, which won't be named, but I will tell you that I've been with you guys for many times now, and I think you know more going to college than I knew coming out of college. But college was important to me as a foundation, and I went on to law school, and that became the real foundation for my ability to be successful. In a family, and be successful in business and in life, because it broadened my view of what goes on in the world. It broadened my view of what goes on in society, how resolutions are resolved, and it gave me the ability to think through all matters that come up, and they're not always positive in life. From the point of view of the issues involved in it and how the resolutions can take place. So I found law school to be the most positive aspect of my life, even though I never practiced law when I got out of law school. I just made it through and I learned. And the whole process of universities and colleges is in learning. But if you take any of you out there, if you take your grandparents or whatever, maybe they didn't even go to college. So their first work experience, or they started a business, or whatever it is so important. And that you see what values they got out of those. And the way to do it is to stimulate the thinking of your relative or your friend or whoever, and let them think it through and think, what did I really get out of that job, or what did I really get out of that college experience?
Yeah, I think going off that, our questions are not exactly always designed to be strict yes or no answers, or strict, I guess, rigid questions. More, it's about giving you the opportunity to think about general areas or whatever comes to mind, and perhaps something will strike a chord in your memory. And I guess just learning more about general and specific also situations like Bob's experience in college, but also law school, which he wouldn't have probably mentioned otherwise. And then going forward, there was another fun question that I wanted to actually ask him right now. And
tell me what the fun question is.
Yeah, the question is, what aspects of parenting would you like to forget, Bob?
Yeah, well, in each of the areas, we have kind of like a comical question that makes you think a little differently than you do in the positive sense of positive questions. But the one area of college I'd like to forget is paying for it, because as you all, I'm sure as everyone that's watching knows, college is an expensive proposition. I found that getting the kids through college was very rewarding, and I like to convey to my kids is you got to work hard to get to that point. That's a message that I'd leave in my book is you got to work hard to get to a point where you make sure your kids get the education they deserve. Owen,
Sorry, go ahead.
Owen, did you have a couple of questions?
Yeah, so before, we spent so much time looking at this, but I picked it up again, the book, and went through just some of my favorite areas that I think encompass the span of the book. For example, we have a full section dedicated to pets. And it's things that you wouldn't necessarily think, okay, pets, whatever, but when you really think about the way these connect to your family and connect to your lifestyle, all these areas that we really spend a lot of time going in depth in show how much of a wide range this book ends up creating about your life, and also just shows how in depth it is. So we have questions like describes your pets as if they were children. And then we also, of course, have humorous if you had any crazy pets. Bob, did you have any crazy or troublesome pets?
No, I didn't have any crazy parents. I had a lot of crazy relatives, but no crazy pets.
Yeah, and then another one of my favorite sections, we have a section with a handful of questions on travels. I think that's another really great where someone in another generation, not only do they get to learn about their relatives, but it's also a great way that this book can teach others about different times and different generations and eras as a whole. So seeing the world through different lenses in a section like this, like travels. And then I think what's really worth talking about is at the end of the book, we spend a lot of time. The majority of the book is sort of the more intricate, detailed questions about someone's life, interests, passions, story, history. But at the end, we really come in and take it from a larger and a wider lens, looking at sort of these bigger questions, these bigger ways that people can leave a legacy and send messages. So we have talking about concerns for the worries, future hopes and dreams. And one of my favorite sections is titled Moments of Happiness. And it's just a place where I think it shows that we have so many different types of ways to have the user call reflection. And at the end, we have life lessons, and we have a section on just specific quotes and statements that have stood out to someone throughout their life. So there's lots of places. I think every section in this book is relevant. Of course, we all will come to have our favorites and our favorite topics and questions, but I think everyone, in most cases, can answer something for every question, which is something that I think speaks volumes to the wide reach our book will have.
Well, one of my favorite section, of course, is hopes and dreams, but that's because I'm 86 years old, and so I'm starting to think a lot about hopes and dreams. And one of the first question was, how would you like to be remembered? I better be a good boy and make sure I'm remembered in a good light from this point on. What personal life achievements do you consider to be your greatest? I mean, and then of course the last question, which I think is the one that is we, like I said, we have the for fun questions, and it's what would this how excuse me, what words describe how you would not like to be remembered? So it's the antithesis of the first question in that section. So once again, it's all designed to stimulate the thinking, and and I'm telling you, I've been around a lot of people my age and younger that have gone into rest homes and convalescent care facilities and adult housing, and they're, and I'm very lucky I'm not there, but they need their mind stimulated. With the diseases that go on of the mind, and keeping that mind working and stimulating that mind and keeping a person busy so that they have something to do other than to worry and to mope about the negatives. And they can think about the positives, and they can see the constructive positives of their experiences and the trips that they took and the families that they knew, and the accomplishments of their kids and their grandkids. And it's so wonderful to have something that directs you or points you in that. Could you wait a second? We're talking. We got the cleaning lady in the room here, so sorry about that.
I would add that I would say that especially during the pandemic and since the pandemic's begun, that last point that Bob was mentioning is really meaningful, and that especially we spent a lot of time with him and with our grandparents during that time, and I think that we really valued just the relationship that we continued to build during then, and we were so thankful for the ability to see each other, and we thought that journaling memories would be especially meaningful for everybody since the pandemic, and even still today, who might have been a bit separated from relatives or for friends, and that it would really bring out a sense of stimulation and of excitement, and also just joy, and I guess the pleasure of looking over something new and reading a new question and answering it and being able to look and say, that is me and that's my finished product. And I would say that, especially as Owen mentioned, the end of the book is where you really get to understand who this person is in their true core, and experiences can be similar depending on the person, and people can have shared experiences. But I would say that you really get to know who somebody deep down is when you get to the last few questions about identity and hopes and dreams and those sorts of cues in life areas.
Yeah, and
go ahead.
It's another thing is just the sheer span of this. It's not a project where you'll work on it for a week and be done. I mean, we've created this, and it's a long-lasting point of connection, and it's something that'll fulfill someone. I mean, you could take a year working on this. You could spend 5 years. I mean, it's something that really can become a lasting memento.
Yeah, let me close with this. Every life is a story, and the beauty of that story, whether it's a book or it's journaling memories, is to share it with those that follow you and let them learn from your experiences. And with that, I think we'll go to Q&A.
Yeah. So we're happy to answer any questions.
Because I'm so old and I can't read, Owen's going to monitor the questions here. You see them?
Yeah, I'll see them when they come through. Feel free to ask anything. We're happy to stick around and answer anything logistically about the intricacies of the book, or any of the larger questions for Bob or any of us about the creation.
You're both busy students. How did you find the time to work on something like this?
Yeah, well, I'd say for one, we definitely had the advantage of the pandemic giving us extra time. And I think also there were times when we were crunched for time, but something like this, to be able to work on it with Bob and work on it together, is something that was worth it to us to make the time for and to squeeze it. And, it was a long process, but we just bit it off in chunks. And whenever we'd have free time, whether just watching a TV show, we'd pull up our doc and just take 10 questions and let's edit these 10 questions today. So it was a combination of finding the time, and also it was a priority for us to make the time for that.
Yeah, I would add that I think that we kept our schoolwork going, but there was plenty of other time that we weren't working that we could have been, I don't know, scrolling through the internet or watching TV, that we decided, hey, let's actually work on this and learn from it. And I think we really came together during those times and had a lot of fun doing it. And I definitely would not take that back.
Yeah, well, you guys were very helpful. The book is kind of it's kind of a colored book for seniors. I mean, seniors can take a look at it and they can spend as much time. They can do any sections they want to do, or pass or add thoughts or ideas they have for their families. But the importance of leaving that message. Marshall mentioned it earlier, but the importance of my father leaving the message for us. And you really get an understanding of what took place in the early 20s and 30s of this decade, and how lucky we are to be where we are. But I'm sure that your family, will look back in years ahead and say, oh my God, I'm sure glad I live in the time that I live. We don't have a pandemic and things like that. So. Anyways, any questions?
Yeah, we have one. Someone has asked, once the book is completed, will it be easy to copy and share with more than one relative? So first, to pass on the information, it is easy to scan. We've made it user-friendly. We also made sure the spine was easy to create a flat working just for anyone to work on it. In terms of the question of if you wanted to give the questions for someone else to work on, you could definitely bite them off, but it is sort of nice to, at the end, have this, you have the ownership page to put it in. So I think the goal would be first 2 people, say my grandma, my grandpa, to get them each their copy, and they would each write it on. But certainly it is a lot of questions, but I would say there's one section you wanted someone to fill out. We have plenty of space for someone to write, but it's not too much. So you definitely could pick and choose questions if you wanted to pass a few along. But there is something, I think, in the end of having that full, complete, bound book to be able to keep for someone.
Well, some people may want to keep it confidential too.
Yep. But thank you for that question. I will go to that.
Anything else?
I'm going to direct this one to Babu. So here's a question. The question is, does the book provide guidance on how to navigate difficult decisions made in life one may feel uncomfortable about, say a failed marriage or child abandonment, etc.?
Well, the book, yeah, those are always hard. I mean, you mean talking to me to address that in the book? Yeah, it provides for the opportunity to address that. Certain people may choose not to address that question. That's fine. I mean, it's their book. They can, there's just certain things that are so hurtful and certain things that you don't want to talk about. A lot of our military people don't want to talk about the war. On the other hand, it gives them the opportunity to say, well, maybe I ought to say something now. So, just kind of give my lessons and guidance from this. So it can go both ways, but it's your book. And as a senior or someone working with a senior or just a person that's not quite a senior yet, and you can address it any way you want. I mean, you journal your thoughts, but this organizes your thoughts so you can journal relative to what the question stimulates in your mind.
Yeah, we don't necessarily offer that advice, but I think that we try to create a sort of seamless transition between the questions. And at the end of the day, it's reflection for you. We're not here to tell you how to act in situations. It's more of a reflection. But I would just reiterate everything Bob said.
Yeah. Oh, here's another question. The question is, how many questions are per page and how much space is there to write for each question?
Well, there's two questions on each page. Two questions on each page and about 12 lines per each question.
Yeah, here I can show. So here's an example page. So we'll have 2 questions with plenty of room. And then at the end of each section, there's an additional thoughts place. So if you wanted to add, touch on, say there's one part you felt you want to add more. And then also at the end of each larger life area, we have a handful of loose leaf papers where you can add more.
Let me just say one other thing too. I mean, like a lot of books, and this is done as something to give to people to help them. No one's going to make a lot of money off of any of this. I just hope people can find usage of it, and you can find it beneficial to their life. Unfortunately, the book doesn't have Oprah's imprimatur on top of it yet. And I doubt if we'll get Oprah's imprimatur, but it's designed to be helpful to people, and that's why we're spending the time, to present it to you and hopefully get a little bit of interest going in the book, whether it's at you individually or whether it's at a retirement home or wherever it is. It's something that's there, and as I think Owen said, it really does last forever. So it's always going to be there, and it's always going to be good to use.
I would add that you can't cover, I mean, everybody knows you can't cover your entire life in 350 questions, but I think that this book gets at so much more than that. And I think that each question leads to so many other questions and so much other information that's not in that question. I think that you can really cover so much information just from what we have in this book. And I think that it's really special in that it's just all about not necessarily a clear-cut answer, but what it inspires you to think and how it leads you to think. And I think there's a lot of value in reminiscing about your own life or what your future might hold in this book.
Or working, when you're trying to build a relationship or trying to help your father or grandfather deal with their infirmaries as they get older in life, the ability it creates a means by which you can communicate with that person and say, hey, Dad or Mom, tell me about your loves, or tell me, that's one of the sections, by the way, or tell me about, what was crazy in life, or tell me about all those adventures you took into Asia. It's a means. It stimulates thinking, and that's what journaling doesn't stimulate thinking. It kind of lets you get stuff off your mind. But this stimulates the journaling of your memories because they're motivated. You're motivated to be thinking about what took place.
Yeah, we'll move on to the next question. Also, someone commented it's a great idea for a Christmas gift. I hate to use the cliche, but it is a gift that keeps on giving. So it's a perfect time to offer that. And then our next question, I'll start with you, Bob, but Marshall, if you want to chime in after. This question is, are there any questions for a spouse or partner to answer? So I think what they're asking is, are there any places where someone else could add in a little part or words to become part of your own story?
Yeah, I think if the owner of the book or the owner wants that to take place, certainly. I mean, you don't want it to make a checkpoint where people grade you on how your marriage has gone or how you behaved in school. But if you want to do it participatively with a husband and wife, once again, it builds that communications, particularly as people get older and they have less to do or less interest, and it stimulates their thinking. It allows them to, if you're married for some time, it allows them to kind of recreate their life and look at what happiness they've created, the family they've created, the happiness that they've created, and also some of the mistakes they've made. And the mistakes are kind of the confessional of the book a little bit, but you don't have to do it if you don't want to. You don't. No one's saying you have to confess the mistakes, but it does ask for mistakes. What are your financial mistakes and what are your life mistakes? Would you have done this over? Those are some of the styles of the questions that we have. Marshall,
I would say that there's definitely room to include 2 entries within each question, or there's also the additional information section that we mentioned. But it would be also another great idea to work on this with your own copy at the same time as your spouse per se. And I think they would be a great activity to do, not necessarily every day, but just perhaps on a Saturday or a Sunday, like, hey, why don't we do the fun and games section or whatnot, or how about we do the college section, learn a little bit more about each other. And I think it's good to do in that same way. I would say that while there is room to include perhaps 2 different stories in one journaling memories book, it would be an excellent idea to do 2 different books at the same time with a spouse.
Yeah, I think Marshall brings up a great point. I think we've struck the right balance with this of guiding someone through it, but also leaving it as open-ended as someone wants. And you can really answer whatever you want. A great idea, someone every day you might answer one question. Then you takes a year to do it, and you just wake up and at the kitchen table every morning, just do one of the questions, and then you really have time. And I think the longer you spend, there is a benefit because you can think back and add more. You think, oh, last week I answered the question about this. This came in my head. Let me ask. But that is a great question, and there's definitely room for any part. While it should mostly be your own story, especially in the marriages section or the parenting X, Y, Z. There's definitely a place where you could add in a little extra comment from someone else.
I would say that if I were, like Owen was saying, if I were going to be filling out the journaling memories, which I would love to start soon, I would probably do one question every day, and I think that would last me a full year. And I think there's benefit in thinking about the question throughout the full day, not necessarily actively, but I guess in the morning you wake up and you look at a question like, say, how honest are you about who you are? And then just answer it in the morning. And then if something else comes to you later in the day, which probably will happen, then you can go back and jot that down. And I think the more time that you let the question soak in, the more meaningful of a response you'll get.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions? Thank you all to everyone who's asked so far.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Do you plan on making a sequel?
Do a sequel to this? Well, I don't know that we could go much deeper into life than we've already done with this one. So yeah. there really isn't a subject that goes beyond your total life. Your life is. Go ahead.
Something that we've discussed in the past would be making a journaling memory specifically for youth and for babies, and I guess the idea of chronicling someone's first years or their infancy in a book like this, and potentially including photos and something along that nature. So I wouldn't be surprised if that hits the shelves sometime soon.
Yeah, a lot of people like to compliment. A lot of people might like to compliment. Should say what they write with pictures, and that's perfectly normal. It also may force you or may encourage you to go through your picture file, which now is on a little handheld computer, as you all well know. But a lot of us older people have got a lot of files of pictures that we kind of cherish, and it allows you to go through them and bring back memories through those searches, and to set them aside as kind of special pictures, special family pictures. I still have my family's old picture albums. I got to tell you, they I can't believe that how life has changed in the last 50 or 60 years. Anything else, guys? Any other questions? Love it. Well, we hope that you buy the book. We hope that you enjoy the book, and you can use it any way you want. And we would have enjoyed very much the ability to make this presentation to you.
Yeah, just a reminder that the green Buy Journaling Memories Here tab works under our video. So if you're excited, just click that. It'll be a pretty easy transaction, and you'll be able to support your local bookstore of Vroman's, which Owen and I and Bob have all come to love, frequenting it in Pasadena.
Yeah, thank you so much. The best way to compliment us is to refer someone, pass it on. But we thank you all for taking the time to be with us tonight. And happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Please, please, please support your local bookstore and Vroman's, and purchase a copy of tonight's featured book, Journaling Memories. This is a great book, especially for Christmas when you're looking for something, or for any holiday, looking for something for someone who has everything. This is a great way to inventory their own mind. So thank you so much again to everyone. And as always, stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.